Welcome to Databricks News. Today I want to talk about Temp Tables, refresh policies, Google Drive connector, and Active Directory groups. Let's start with Temp Tables. It is great news because now the migration from legacy system is much more easier, and also it's opening doors to new data engineering opportunities because we can have table which is materialized, but only temporary. So let's see it in practice. I will connect to SQL warehouse and create some example table with some customer IDs. And then from that table, I will make it bigger for you. From that table, we'll create temporary table. And that temporary table is Unity cataloged managed table. Yes, just it's temporary and it's clean automatically once session ends or after 7 days. So the session cannot be longer than 7 days. And when we create that temporary table, like here, we can make DML operation on it. So it's something which is not possible in Views. So for example, here we can insert data, we can update that data. And we can just make select from that temporary table. And when we click describe, we can see that this table is displayed as managed delta table. It's using cloud storage, but also delta cache. So once you create it, everything is stored in delta cache. Of course, if there will be no more space, it's vacuumed and then it will be taken from cloud storage, but it's always saved to cloud storage. So we can see here information about schema. We see even some delta options related to that. And here is example that we could do the same with temporary view, but the big difference is that temp table is materialized and allow DML operations. Here, the temporary view is just logical representation, so it will be regenerated every time. So depends on your needs. You can choose one or other solution. But one thing which I really like is that you can use that temporary table inside of stored procedures. So we define here procedure which create temporary table and then performing merge operation. So I think it's a really good use case for data engineering. And then you can just call that procedure. Additionally, then that procedure which is using temp table is registered in Unity catalog, so you have this visibility to code. So you call that store procedure from Unity catalog, and then data is merged, so we can see data in target. We can also go to Unity catalog and see that procedure with temporary table there. So we can see that here in catalog there is our refresh stored procedure, which is using temporary table. So it's really nice, and also this way you can have everything included in lineage. So I really like that approach with temporary tables. Another update is also like there is not so many weeks when I have two favorite updates, and another one is also my favorite one, because now for materialized view, we can specify refresh policy. What is it? So let's connect to SQL warehouse again. Let's create example table. So it's some example table with sales data. And then let's create materialized view based on that table. So it's just simple aggregation. And here we can implement refresh policy. So default refresh is auto, which was also available before, but now it's incremental strict, and full. The ones which are like more interested to us are the incremental ones. So in incremental strict, we are allowing only for incremental refreshes, and if incremental refresh is not possible, it will fail. So probably it's not good to use it for production, but it's perfect to use for development, because we want to sure that our data is refreshed incrementally, and this way we are not allowing for any other refresh. Probably for production you can use incremental, so this way it can safely fail to full reload if needed. But for development, incremental strict is amazing. And we created that materialized view with that policy incremental strict. And now let's update one record. Of course, that our source table doesn't have row tracking ID. We don't have change data feed. So in that scenario, probably full refresh would be faster because it's only 5 records, and now with incremental strict, we force it to be incremental. So it has to read delta log, etc. to make incremental policy. So let's refresh that sales example aggregated data and see if it's incremental. We need to go to jobs and pipeline and find our materialized view. So I think it's that one. So we can see that it was refreshed incrementally, but now I will show you something which is much more amazing than that. So let's create some example tables like customers example, product price history, exchange rates, and let's make really complicated materialized view, which probably is not possible to refresh incrementally, but let's try it. Oh, and we have error. Cannot create the materialized view with incremental strict refresh policy because it is not supported for incremental refresh. And why it is amazing? Because we can finally check our code before deploying, because we can write code for materialized view, put incremental strict policy, and then check, is it possible to refresh it incrementally or not? And instead of debugging and checking documentation, it's enough to put this refresh policy incremental strict, run the code, and the code is verified. It will be incremental or not? So I really like that, and in my opinion, it's amazing function, amazing policy. Yes, amazing policy for every data engineer. Okay, so that's all about SQL, and now let's move to another news, which is Google Drive connector. Yes, so now we have general Google Drive connector. Why I say general? Because it's not only for Lakeflow Connect, but we can use it like everywhere. So in the documentation, there are like 50 different examples where it can be used in streaming, in autoloader, in Lakeflow pipelines, in reading single file, etc. But let's take a look to it. First, in our Google Cloud, we need to define Google Auth platform to authenticate. Generally, everything made by Google, if you want to use it, you need to go to Google Cloud, yes, and set some authentication and register OAuth client, specify data access that it can read from your Google Drive, and then in catalog you need to define connection. Where are our connection? Oh, it was rebuilt, yes, recently. So here in connections, we see that our Google Drive connection is registered, and then you can start to use it using, for example, PySpark syntax. Yes, in that example, we are loading all PDF files. So let's test it. It's a binary file format in autoloader. So it's incremental load or PDFs. Yes, I specified that it's PDF from Google Drive. And we can see that all PDFs are loaded. So of course it's in binary content. So then in next step, you can use, for example, you can decode it and then use AI parse function to parse that PDFs to readable format in Delta table. Another example is that on Google Drive I put some CSVs. So I will open my Google Drive actually. Google Drive. So I created that folder CSVs and put here a few CSV. So it's like data like for autoloader, because every CSV is with sales data for 1 day. And I will not show you it now, but it's because it's not working on serverless, but actually on classic compute, you can use Spark configuration and define the automatic format conversion. So for example, if you create Google Drive spreadsheet, it can be read automatically as XL1, XL6. Actually, this is the default settings. But also it can, for example, be read by Spark as text file, as CSV file. So there are this auto conversion of formats. So I'm really surprised that this connector is like so mature from day one. And regarding this CSV, here is standard autoloader code for CSV files. We always have to specify that Databricks connection, which we define G Drive, but we also need to specify path. And this is the same path which you see here in URL. Sometimes there are extra options after that, so you need to remove them. So let's load it. And it should load our CSV just as a data frame, yes, because it's not binary format. Oh, and you see it's data from our CSVs. So it's working really good, really fast. So if your, I don't know, HR department or finance department wants to store some files in the cloud, I really recommend that approach. Recently, like in recent weeks, I was testing 3 connectors: Google Drive, Confluence, and SharePoint, all of them for storing Excel files or CSV files, and I can say that that one is the best one. So it was another like top news. So it's hard to say which news is the news of the month, because we have Temp Table, Refresh Policy, Google Drive connector. So now some things which are not as which I'm not as excited about as the previous 3. So for Active Directory groups in Azure, if you define some Active Directory group, I define that group marketing, then you can share resources like Genie, apps, and dashboards. So the one which are used in Databricks 1 directly with Active Directory groups. So I put marketing and it's here, yes, and I can share. So I think it's a good, small but good improvement for Databricks 1, because then it can be real alternative to Power BI, yes, because just Active Directory groups. Last updates, the smallest one is that Lakebase is GA, so you can use it now in production. Officially, probably some of us used it before, but now it's GA, it's not preview anymore. And also there was few announcements which are quite nice, yes, but they are not yet working for me. So first of one is that in network connectivity configuration, you can specify, there will be some default rules, specify stable IPs for your serverless. So actually it's good if you have this use cases like from serverless, you are importing some data from other cloud provider, and you need to whitelist IP. So it's quite nice. And another update is that you can have this base environments for serverless. So this is, you specify YAML file and it's precompiled. So all dependencies, so it's stored like Docker image. And it's till now it was possible to use on notebook level, and now it is also possible for jobs. Yes, that in job you can define that the job is using this base environment, but actually it's not yet available in any of my workspaces. So I hope that next week we will jump deeper into that topic. And I think that's all news from this week. Thank you really much for watching, and I hope to see you next week in next video. Thank you.